talk by Terrence McKinnon about ayahuasca, and it's definitely worth listening to. And the link is below. And move about 30 minutes in to to it, and you can listen to it. So one of the things when I did ayahuasca last year in January, before the coronavirus hit, it's in Puerto Rico. I I came away from the experience that I was traveling the epigenetic memories of my DNA. And listening to Terrence is, he was like, "What is it?" Well, I'll tell you what ayahuasca is. You are basically entering the dew, the distributed unconsciousness. You are when you go into ayahuasca, you're shedding everything that you are, and you are. This DMT is really a launch pad to put you into the dew. Like he says, like you don't know if you're alive or not, and you're like, okay, I'm breathing, I'm this, okay, I'm alive. You kind of do this check. So I remember doing that myself, and the first thing I remember was you see this lattice, you see the dew, and it's like this um what's the word for it? Um, Mandela, right? The Mandela is everywhere, and you're like, oh, I see the Mandela. That's the first thing. And then for me, and I don't know if I dreamed it or what happened. It was like I don't know if it happened within a second or anything else, but it was like I was looking at my hand, and my hand turned into like an ape's hand, and I just completely, and I was like, ah, that's my hand. I just said that, oh, that's my hand. I recognize my hand. And then it moved into the hoof of an elephant. I was like, ah, that's me, right? And then next thing I know, I'm there and I'm just crying because I see my mother, Shigamatra, the mother, that Shigamatra, but my mother as Shigamatra looking up to her mother who I'd seen in so long. And she's laughing at me because she's like, why are you crying? I'm always here with you. And then I go back further, and I'm in the in a like, and I'm in the shaman is singing, but to me the shaman is ultimately the um, the shaman and the tribe, and I don't understand the words, but I know the words, like I know the feeling of the words, and um, and I'm crying and I'm feeling like all this sadness, and it's like this lamenting of all this loss that we're ushering in, that it's this coming end of the age, death, and all this. And I just understand. I don't know it like, um, but I could feel it. And her voice would change, and it was an old woman singing. It was the old shaman from. And then I kept going backwards, and from there, all of a sudden, I was like this green stuff I was like, what is this? What is going on? What is, and I was trying to figure out what has happened to me. It was like this green and energy, and it was just like I could just feel love and warmth, and I'm looking around trying to figure out what I am, and I had no body. I was corporeal, and I was like, oh, this is plant. This is cool, right? That's all I said. This is plant. This is cool. So ayahuasca, I'm telling you, is all of these memories are trapped in your DNA, and he actually explains this kind of like this whole epigenetic memories from the time we were a plant, the time we were in the ocean as a placebo, or as and I think ayahuasca really is that bridge to the dew. Um, and I also think it depends on how your point of view. If you're coming in ayahuasca as a and you're thinking of this almighty God, I think it will influence you, right? I think if you're coming in, I come in, I really came in as in many respects, an atheist. Um, and to me, the coloring of everything is the coloring of the dew is what creates religion. So it's definitely listen to this to him talk about ayahuasca. I definitely will do it again. I'd like to do it. I want to practice a new kind of ayahuasca where you don't vomit and you basically push the ayahuasca through you. A new practice of ayahuasca. I think that is how um, how I felt that I needed to do it. It's just like the throwing it up thing, because especially the whole you're getting rid of parasites. Well, how about parasites in your intestine? You want to push this all the way through you and get the parasites all the way out of you. So, and I would challenge you if you ever do ayahuasca, do the undao way. Right, the first night, I threw up one time. The second night, I didn't, and only threw up because other people were throwing up. It was like one of those contagious things. People start throwing up, you throw up. But the second night, and it's funny because he talks about chanting and singing, and no one's told me to do that. But I found myself chanting and singing, right? And I also found myself in full lotus, sitting up through the whole thing where people laying down, and pretty much the whole night I was just focused, and I was staring into I created like a triangle with my two fingers, and I was staring through that into the void. I was just going deep, like I was going deeper and deeper. And understand, I've never had any training. I, and I just going by instinct, and as though I'd done it before, as though this was a ritual that I had done many times, um, and uh, and I was rediscovering that experience. Um, so if you have an opportunity to do ayahuasca, I wouldn't shy away from you not doing it, but make sure it's done right. Make sure that you have a shaman. Make sure there's ritual. I think all of that, like Terrence McKinnon says, in a way, you need to be humble, and you're taking permission from a plant. It's giving you this journey, and this stuff is as alive as you are, and even though this is really meaningless to its pain and everything else, from my experience being a plant, right, doesn't change anything. This plant is still in that thing, and this will just dry out. But yeah, I'm learning a lot from um, Terrence McKinnon. He's my new Sadhu. I can't get enough of him. Like I have my headset on, so I just sit and listen to him all the time. And I'll do the same thing I did the same thing with Alan Watts, and the same thing with Joseph Campbell. There's certain sadhus out there that you just can't get enough of, and they feed your soul. And he's one of them. And he's not like people think. I always thought of Ian McKinnon. Oh, he's one of those Terrence McKinnon, one of those crazy. He isn't. He's a hardcore fucking scientist, and and he says it how it is, and it kind of blows me away because he's not exactly what like misconceptions. Oh, he's that guy who did a bunch of stuff, blah 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 blah, and got high. I mean, it's he's completely misrepresented in the media and in our knowledge compared to, and his importance to me, I can't put measure to it, not at all, undoubtedly.